Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. The Dennis, Dylan, and NWA.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run the Marin County podcast, a podcast about basketball in Marin County. I'm Duffy Ballard, and here is Coach Dave Levine. This is episode 11, lucky 11. How is it going, Dave?
Yo, Lev. Duffy, it's great. It's nice to see you. We're in the same location. We're in your kitchen, a new one. So we typically record in your house, but we're now in a new spot. Everything's going great. We have iced coffee fans, so I know we were missing our iced coffee last episode.
I'm going to tinkle a little bit, Dave. We are ever itinerant, searching for the perfect studio.
True. Nomads.
But we've got the perfect iced coffee.
We're peripatetic. By the way, I thought of you, Duff, with the rain recently. Some petrichor. I felt the petrichor.
Petrichor. You
smelled it.
Yeah, you have the. It's an essence, really.
Feeling.
You can feel it and you can smell it.
I felt it. So this is a great episode. Awesome discussion with Rick Winter, which we'll get to. But first, I wanted to hit on a few exciting developments just in Marin Hoops, an update. We're now getting into games. This is a fun week for high school. Most high schools have had 2 scrimmages. They're permitted 2 scrimmages. Our San Domenico girls had a great productive scrimmage this weekend versus Pinole Valley. Pinole Valley, by the way, Duff, amazing gym. It's like a college gym over in Pinole. But we had a really good scrimmage with them. Very competitive, energetic. It was awesome. And I know you guys, your Archie Williams boys, had a scrimmage against Cardinal Newman, right?
Yeah, we were up at Cardinal Newman. We had a good 5-quarter scrimmage. Did some good stuff. And we have a foundation game tomorrow night, Dave.
So that I was just going to say, can you tell us about, they're all happening this week. Go ahead and tell us about foundation games. What are they?
Yeah, and thank you, Kenya, for walking right over my foot right there. She stepped on both my feet in the process of going underneath the table. Yeah, so I actually did not really understand what these were until recently, Dave, but these are called foundation games because they help to fund the NCS/CIF Scholarship Foundation, and they end up giving away 50% of the share of the revenues from gate receipts for these foundation games to scholar athletes across all sports. So these are games that are played on the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, and they are hosted, and there is a set charge for those that are attending. And as I said, a portion of the proceeds go towards scholarships. And these games do not count. So these are not on the official 26 game limit, and they do not count towards NCS or other postseason play.
Now, Duffy, if I recall, your daughter Haley, I believe, received one of these scholarships. Is that
She did right? Last year. Haley, who is first year at Williams College, last year she did receive one of these. Thank you to Mark and Mary Churchill at San Domenico in the track and cross country department for putting her name forward.
Nice.
And I'm glad I just slipped that in so that if Haley ever listens to this podcast, which I think the odds are still less than 1%, Dave, she maybe will listen to this episode.
There you go. But yeah, foundation games are great. A lot of fun. So Tuesday around the county, you'll be seeing teams playing. Yeah, again, they don't count toward the record, but uniforms, referees, fans, the whole 9 yards, it's just they don't count towards your record. Cool. So, Duff, I wanted to give a quick update on recruiting in case folks haven't heard. We had a few exciting developments around the county. First, one
you should, Dave. You should. I would say go ahead.
Thank you, Duffy.
You have three announcements today.
3 announcements.
Okay, good.
One that's close to home for me is Carly Amborn, junior guard, plays for me at San Domenico, has verbally committed to play hoops for Tara Vanderveer at Stanford University in 2 years when she is done with high school. That's a huge deal. I think everyone knows Stanford women's basketball is no small competitor. Perennially in the top 10, have won 3 national titles. You can't sign a national letter of intent until your senior year, Duff. But so Carly has not signed anything, but she's made a verbal commitment to go play at Stanford. She had several D1 offers, but she chose the Cardinal. And I'm just super proud of her. Couldn't happen to a nicer, more hardworking kid. I'm excited for the next 2 years that we have to work together, but very proud of her. Yep. So congrats, Carly.
Dave, that program has been in decline ever since they lost a very valuable player coach, but nonetheless,
True.
That is still an amazing accomplishment. So congratulations, Carly and Pam and family.
Very true. Yes, listeners, I was a practice player for them back before there was, electricity and indoor plumbing. But I think the program has survived without me, Duff. Okay, next one. Very happy for Joaquin Aguilan from Branson. He has committed to play Division III hoops at Macalester College in Minnesota, which is a great school with a really good hoops program. They have some awesome scorers on that team. So this is just fantastic news, and congrats to Joaquin. He is super talented. I've seen him play for the last couple of years. Obviously, we've talked a lot about how Branson, very deep, talented team. Joaquin is a big part of that. So congrats, Joaquin and Branson. And then finally, this one was from a couple months ago, but wanted to mention it. Maddie Dayton, star senior guard for Ashley Si's Marin Catholic team, has committed to play next year at Wesleyan University in Connecticut, Division III as well. Great school. Maddie is a fantastic player. She works super hard. I've seen her working out with Stevie Johnson and other trainers a lot. She's going to be a force in the MCAL this season, and very excited for her to play at Wesleyan.
Very cool. Yeah, I think this is a good episode to have some recruiting announcements, Dave, because Rick Winter talks quite a bit about recruiting, and he has been successful as a coach and also as a program director, getting kids to play at the next level. And I think coaches, once you get up to the high school level, we have to be looking at that and trying to discern early on which players have that potential and how we can best help them get to where they want to go.
Absolutely. And if there are other commitments out there, let us know. Shoot us an email at therunTMCpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll give them a shout out. Just super proud of the Marin County kids who are playing basketball at the next level. So, Duff, what else you got today?
I've got some loose ends that I want to cover. So podcast logistics, news, and notes. So we are going back to our regular podcast release schedule, Dave. So we will be releasing on Tuesdays, usually by midday, on a weekly basis. And every once in a while, we might throw a surprise interview out there as a bonus. So you might get lucky week to week, but it's going to be every week. We still do have quite a few interviews that are in the bank. And as we get into December, some of the timeliness of some of the content of those interviews may not be quite on point. For example, even today's episode with Rick Winter was recorded on October 31st, back when I believe the Warriors were 6-2.
Yeah, they were looking good.
So anyway, there is some conversation about that particular Warriors point in the season, which now looks quite a bit different, I would say.
Yeah.
But we'll get out of it. Anyway, we're not talking so much about the Warriors today. We have some other good content, Dave, and the other loose ends. We've heard from quite a few people with suggestions as to people that we could interview. And with the caveat that we kind of backed up with our interview schedule already, we definitely would love to hear from people that have coached or played in Marin, that have a perspective that they would like to talk about and feel like would be interesting to our listeners. So please reach out to us at therunTMCpodcast@gmail.com or via the Instagram or at our website, and let us know if you're someone who is interested in talking about being on as a guest. We certainly do not want to discriminate against anyone in our large basketball family here in Marin County.
And thanks to the correspondents, we've been receiving some updates from correspondents who are tracking different programs for us, and we still are looking for more. So if you are close to a program, if you're a player, if you're a coach, if you're a parent, and you're following a program, men's or women's, boys or girls in Marin, let us know.
Yeah, I think what we might do, Dave, is we've received several recordings, including Johnny Kearns has sent us a couple about Terra Linda, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Has a great interview with Coach Baker. And we might just throw a bunch of those together in a single episode one of these days and just, send something out, notes from our correspondence.
Great idea. And Duff, you want to hit on t-shirts?
Oh, yes, please. Yeah, so correspondence, please keep sending us good material. So t-shirts, we have also heard from quite a few people. They think our t-shirts are pretty dope. I would agree, and they have a nice synthetic blend, which is very soft. So if you are interested in a t-shirt, please reach out via the same means and let us know. We'll put you on the list. We did just get a shipment. We have quite a few of those that are sort of already allocated. But if you'd like one, let us know.
Excellent. We're back with our glossary this week, Duff. Can I go first?
I think you always get to go first. So
That's true. I bat lead off, and then you come in and correct all my mistakes. But so the glossary term this week is not uncommon. It's horns action, which is an offensive framework that I bet a lot of our listeners have heard of. You definitely have seen it. Horns is an offensive framework that just simply involves two post players setting up a few steps outside the elbows in what we call the slot. So kind of if the two ends of the lane lines of the key were to continue on to half court, kind of think like along those lines. So they're set up there, and the point guard can choose either side to use a screen from a post player. Typically, the screener then rolls to the basket, and the opposite post pops to the three-point line. So you set up a potential high-low entry. Horns is a great way to just kind of initiate your offense, and particularly if you're getting a lot of pressure on your point guard, using those screens on either side is a helpful way to relieve some of that pressure. And another common action off horns involves the point guard using or either passing to one of the posts instead of using a screen, and then maybe receiving a flare screen from the other post to set up a three. But horns is very, very common action, Duff.
Especially good if you have someone with the ball who's pretty elusive, can go either direction. And I've seen it set up where you have your bigs down on the baseline on the blocks, and then you have guards come down and set off-ball screens for the bigs, and the bigs come up for the horn actions.
Yep.
And sometimes as they're coming up and the defense is waiting for them to settle, that point guard just makes an initial move, and then he's got a couple people down underneath the basket that may be open for a quick bunny. So yeah, horns is good action. I would say I'm not the type of player at this point in my life that you should run horns for, because it's way too crowded. Because I think now you do have a couple defenders there. So if you're not quick and elusive, you could get caught up in a big jumble of human beings that might strip the ball from you or otherwise cause you basketball harm.
Well, where you normally, like Duff, back in our day, we would have 3 out, 2 in offenses. Kind of this is more of a modern version of that, right?
Yeah.
If you have two post players with size, that's a great way to initiate your offense instead of just doing a traditional 5 out, right? Yeah. So anyway, what do you got today for our glossary, Duff?
From horns to something completely different.
Great.
And this we have mentioned briefly on the podcast, but I want to do a bit of a deeper dive. And for those players that I may have coached in the past, and certainly the parents of those players I've coached in the past, this will be familiar, and it is the concept of basketballism. So we're not talking about nationalism or communism or pacifism, rather basketballism. And it is a philosophy of life that is based on the principles and attributes of the sport of basketball. And this is not my idea. It came from a book by an author by the name of David Hollander, who maybe someday we'll have on the podcast. And the book is called How Basketball Can Save the World. And David Hollander has espoused the principles of basketball as a means of spreading justice. And here, Dave, there's another dog walking up the driveway. This one belongs to the neighbors. Anyway, so basketballism is a way to spread good aspects, beneficial aspects of humanity, such as equality across the globe.
It's a great book. We mentioned this, I think, in the couple episodes, definitely in the Tom Poser, John Granucci episode 2. It's a really good read. It makes you appreciate some of the finer aspects of basketball and what makes it unique, Duff.
Yep. And one of the concepts is cooperation, which is actually good not only in basketball, but in many other aspects of human life and society, and what Hollander calls human alchemy. So this is not just chemistry. This is just not chemical reactions. This is actually making is the transformation of matter. It's making gold from lead, for example. Human alchemy, and that's what really good basketball is all about, and that is basketballism. And the reason we chose this week to talk about basketballism is that there's a major holiday coming up in a couple days, and that holiday is not only about having turkey and pie and a lot of serotonin and watching a lot of football. It's also, as we know, about giving thanks. And I know I like to spend my Thanksgiving morning sending notes to people that are friends and family, appreciating them. I know many other people do that. So Dave, why don't we just spend a moment to each give thanks to certain aspects of the game of basketball.
Yep.
You can start.
The thing I love about the game of basketball is it's constant, it's fluid, it's ever moving. Just like life, Duff. We don't know what each day is going to present to us. And basketball is a sport where you're playing offense and defense essentially at the same time. You have 5 people on the court working together, improvising, teamwork. So I've always been drawn to the sport for that reason. I love all sports. I love football. I love baseball. I love golf, tennis, everything. But basketball is unique in that you've got the same set of people playing offense and defense at the same time in really quick transitions. Even soccer, the same thing, but on a much bigger scale, right? Much bigger space. Basketball is a more confined space. So I love the fluid, ever moving nature of it.
Yeah, and there are no positions. I mean, in good and well played basketball,
right.
It's not like you have a goalie or a catcher or pitcher. Everyone is playing every position if you're playing basketball at the level that it should be. And Dave, I think we can agree that it is also portable and equitable. It can be played outdoors. It can be played in urban areas. It can be played out in the country. You can go shoot around, play 3-on-3 out at a barn in the country, or you can play on the blacktop on West 4th in Manhattan. And people from all sorts of backgrounds can play, and it can connect people. I have played basketball all around the world and made friends from basketball all around the world, and I know I'm not alone in having that as a background that has been formed by the sport. One last thing, Dave.
Yeah.
It became a women's sport shortly after it was invented. So it was one of the quickest sports to make the transition from being a men's sport to a co-ed sport.
Love it. It's great. And last thing I'll say on this point, Duff, I'm thankful for with basketball is friendships like the one you and I have. A lot of our community friends come from basketball, and without this sport, my life would be a lot different, and I think much less rich and full. So I really appreciate this game, and that's why doing this podcast with you is a lot of fun to celebrate it.
Yeah, the sport would not be so much fun without the people involved in it.
Well said.
Yeah, you need people to play basketball.
You need people.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on to sponsors. Duff?
What time is it? Sponsor time.
I'm not going to say the time on the clock. I learned my lesson. Duff, we have a new sponsor. Why don't you talk about them? They're awesome.
Right. Yeah, we talked about them a little bit in the last episode, but now we have their formal copy, and we'll be putting them up on the website. And this is Jesse and Laurent. Jesse and Laurent is a gourmet, ready-to-eat meal delivery service facilitating family meals throughout the Bay Area, Sacramento, and North Tahoe region. We've been feeding families for more than 40 years with our delicious and healthy heat and serve meals. I can't believe I've never heard of them before. 40 years? You simply heat and serve the pre-made meals. We deliver right to your doorstep. That's true, they do. Are you going to Tahoe for the holidays? Schedule your meal delivery for your cabin ahead of time. Jesse and Laurent delivers to the North Tahoe region. Enjoy more time with your family friends while enjoying delicious food. We have holiday meals ready to order on our website. No meal planning or prep needed. Visit www.jesseandlaurent.com. That is www.jesseandlaurent. That's LAURENT.com for more information or to set up a meal delivery. And additionally, Dave, there is a bonus offer. First time we've had a bonus offer. If they use the code TMC20, they get what?
$20 off your first order.
TMC20 for $20 off. That's clever.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Jesse and Laurent's awesome. Food's great. Support them. Next up, we have NBBA, which is fitting because our friend Rick Winter Rick Winter, who founded NBBA and runs it, is our guest today. NBBA is your premier destination for youth basketball in the North Bay, dedicated to helping young athletes achieve their full potential on and off the court. Experienced coaches provide top-notch coaching and training, focusing on skill development, teamwork, and sportsmanship. We have a few upcoming highlights from NBBA. First, there is a free clinic for girls on December 10th at Terra Linda in the main gym, the new gym, from 12:30 to 1:30. Caden Course, KK, episode 3 guest, great coach. Zach Borello, the Redwood girls varsity coach, awesome guy and an awesome coach. And then another great guy and an awesome coach, Tony Butler, who's the San Marin girls varsity coach, will be running this clinic. In addition to Duffy, a guy named Dave Levine, but I'm the worst one of the bunch, but I'll be there as well. Hope that's not a deterrent for our listeners. So girls free clinic December 10th at Terra Linda, 12:30 to 1:30. Also, there's girls and boys winter camps from January 2nd to 5th, grades 3 through 8 at Archie Williams from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with Archie Williams varsity boys coach and episode 10 guest and our friend Russell Bauer. And then there's another camp at Redwood, 9 to 3 p.m. with phenomenal Redwood boys varsity coach Jay DeMaestri, great coach and a great guy, also from 9 to 3. So go to the northbaybasketball.com website. Sorry, I forgot one more. Grades K through 2, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. with Ramon Huff and John Ratchin at Hamilton Community Gym. So go to the NBBA website for all these special winter events.
Yeah. A handful of the Archie Williams varsity players will be helping out at those camps at Archie Williams, and these, including the guy we sometimes call Coach, Devin Moss. He's only a sophomore, but he's got the playbook, memorized and then some.
Love it.
So yeah, good kid.
Awesome.
So good stuff. Good content. We would also like to thank our other sponsors, ongoing sponsorship from the San Domenico Nike summer camps, as well as Karen Hortsmeyer Real Estate, and of course, right. I had Hub Brain, yes, and of course the Hub. We gave the Hub a lot of love on the last episode. So anyway, thank you to all our sponsors. We really appreciate your support. And I think, Dave, we can probably move on to the good stuff.
Let's get to our guests. So real quick, I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing Rick because we do it in the interview. This was a great discussion. I encourage our listeners to give it a listen. And we can give our perspective on it after, including some player control stuff. I'll get to this in player control. But
No. You get to it in player control.
Okay. Just people who use zones, we'll talk after.
We had a nice little debate about zones. It was fun.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's go to Dave and Rick. Here we go.
All right. Rick Winter, thank you for joining us, Rick.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome to see you. So we're very excited to have Coach Rick Winter with us. So Rick has had a huge impact on basketball, really on the national level. And he's been a massive force in growing the game in Marin County for many decades and the North Bay and beyond. So we're very excited to have him. Rick has been a very successful high school coach. We're going to talk about his coaching career. But then after he stepped away from coaching, he has been a very successful entrepreneur and building a really fantastic business around youth and high school basketball with NBBA. So we'll get into that. But Rick, let's walk down a quick memory lane for you. Grew up in Anaheim, Orange County.
Yep.
Okay, we'll try to limit our Laker discussion, but we can talk about that briefly. Played high school ball at Western High School, and then went to University of Laverne, which is a D3 school, Rick?
Yep, in Skyac.
Okay, in the Skyac, yep, same as Pomona and Caltech and all those schools, Claremont.
Correct.
In kind of East LA, would you call that Inland Empire? Is that
Inland Empire. For those Bill and Ted fans, it's right next to San Dimas.
Sweet, San Dimas High School. Rick played freshman and sophomore years at Laverne, but then he had a bad injury, torn ligaments, and that kind of ended his playing career and began his coaching career. And so we'll get into that. Rick then coached high school hoops for 20 years. He was at Damien High School in Laverne from 1990 to 1995, won a bunch of games, and then he moved up to Marin and took the helm at Marin Catholic and coached there for 15 years, from 95 to 2010. Rick won 345 games as a high school coach, 345 and 199 career record, very impressive. At MC, he won 6 MCAL championships, 4 in a row from 02 to 05. I don't think Honnick was very happy about that, Rick. He won 3 NCS championships. They made it to 2 NorCal finals, a game away from state. So very impressive, but equally as impressive as his coaching record is Rick's ability to develop players, and I want to spend a lot of our time talking about that. Rick had 18 of his high school players go on to have careers at the collegiate level, including 9 Division I players. So he's someone who not only won games as a coach, but he developed talent, and we want to talk about that. So in 2010, Rick stepped away from coaching Marin Catholic and began North Bay Basketball Academy, or NBBA. NBBA is a very successful club basketball program, providing skills training and club, AAU hoops for kids in Marin, and have expanded into the North Bay. As we talked about, he's helped grow the game in this county, and we really appreciate what he does for all of our kids here. And just like we had our discussion with Chris Ballard, and Chris took his passion for basketball and coupled that with his abilities as a writer and communicator to become a really successful journalist. Rick has taken his love of basketball, his knowledge of basketball, and coupled that with his ability as an entrepreneur and a businessman to build a really great business. So we want to talk about that. Rick is married. He has 2 sons, Brock and Kyle. Both are great guys. They work at NBBA with him. Excellent coaches in their own right. So, Rick, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So let's talk about developing talent. I want to jump right into to that because it jumped out at me when we were kind of trading text messages with your background and 18 college players. So you developed a lot of players into Division I players. Talk about developing a player versus coaching a team. How did you strike that balance?
Yeah, so I have two main mentors. One guy's named Mark Track. He was my coach my sophomore year at Western High School. He then left and started up the Brea Linda girls program and built a dynasty. He was a women's coach at USC, New Mexico State for years. He's the one that really focused on individual development when I was a player.
Yeah.
And then Mike LeDuc, he is now the coach at Damien. He was actually the coach at Damien until 1980, then left, went to Glendora High School, coached guys like Tracy Murray,
Tracy Murray, of course.
Casey Jacobson, Adam Jacobson, Cameron Murray, who played at Louis. I mean, these are all, that's the league I coached in. Very high level, high powered league. He's my real mentor. And his summer program was nothing about team. It was all focused on individual development. And so I brought that philosophy with me to Damien and then also to Marin Catholic. So in the summer, we did very few team concept stuff. And my teams practiced 6:30 a.m. in the summer 3 times a week because then we had Camp of Champions after. And so almost all my kids would come to practice, worked it out with Kim Peralta, football coach, or Scott Morrison, who was a football coach before him, and they would go to football after. And the kids that played both. And so then in those 6:30 workouts, it's individual development. And then in 2002, 2003, Phil Handy, who is now an assistant coach of the Lakers, got his start in my gym. His first client was Michael Turner. And so Phil came in. Before you know it, here are all these kids from all over the Bay coming to work out with Phil. And my teams, I used to open the gym at 6:30 every morning before school, before class. I also taught AP US History.
Yeah.
That's my other passion. And so my team would come in before school. I'm not allowed to work them out, but sometimes Phil would be there, or Phil would do a workout earlier in the week, on the weekend, and then Michael Turner's putting the kids through the workout. Or 2 years later, Ryan Metner's helping put the kids through the workout. Or in 2010, Brock Winter is putting these kids through it's all fundamentals and skills. And then I also think that it's a coach's responsibility, and this is a frustration I have when I watch, especially some younger coaches, is that you have a responsibility, in my opinion, to help the players that are good enough to play at the next level get to the next level. So I use Michael Turner as the example.
Yeah.
So when Michael came to me, his freshman year, he played at Novato High, played pretty exclusively inside, transferred to Marin Catholic as a sophomore. and pretty much his game was 15 feet and out. Then in the summer, work, get Phil involved. Phil and I would talk, hey, this is where we need to get him in the offense. These are the spots where he's going to get shots. Mm-hmm. This is what we need him to work on footwork-wise. And before you know it, also now he's shooting from 17 to 19 feet. So his junior year, pretty much trail threes. Like if he was on the break and had a trail three, great. But out of the offense, not so much.
Yeah.
And then as a senior, again, in the summer between his junior and senior year, we're focusing on what we need to focus on to make him a complete player so he's packageable to play at the Division I level. And now he can shoot from anywhere. He can attack the basket from anywhere. That's kind of that's, in my opinion, how a player should be developed to play at the next level. Instead of thinking of, oh, my job's to win league and win an NCS championship, so I'm going to play this kid at the block the whole time.
Right. That's fantastic. So a couple things I got to jump in. This is great stuff. So first of all, Phil Handy. I mean, listeners, if you don't know who Phil Handy is, I'd encourage you to go to YouTube and search Phil Handy. Probably every NBA player has done Phil Handy's ball handling workout, right? I mean, I think it's 94 feet of game is maybe his website or that's his business, but he is a skills trainer. He's on the Lakers payroll right now, right? I think
he's going to be a head coach pretty soon.
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, I remember showing my CYO kids him working out with Harrison Barnes and just doing the kind of cross, front, just the quick ball handling moves, posture. It's all really great stuff for skills. So that's incredible that you had him in the Marin Catholic gym.
Oh, it was phenomenal. And then I'm coaching a third grade NBBA team.
Yeah.
And we start every day with 20 minutes of Phil Handy ball handling. Yeah. Every day, and yeah, he's quite the force out there.
Yeah.
And just the, rear end down, chest up, eyes up, the being on balance. Exactly. Everything is square, so you can go left, you can go right. You're not showing the defense where you're committed to ahead of time. Just that philosophy and that focus, I think, is phenomenal.
Absolutely. And then I'm glad you brought up Michael Turner. You beat me to it because we've had I think if we're being self-critical, Rick, this podcast has been a bit biased towards the 80s and a bit biased towards Drake. So a lot of the great player discussion and
well, sober clear, my wife is an 86 Drake grad. David Mike Hayward was on the Reuter bus to the 82 championship game as an 8th grader. Okay. So she's a basketball nut too.
You get it. That's awesome. That's awesome. But one of the names that has not come up and that really should. Well, actually, Fulton brought up Turner early as one of the best skills trainers. Is Michael Turner, MC player, played for you as we talked about. One of the best players in history of Marin. You'd be hard pressed to find a player who's better than Michael Turner. He was North Bay Player of the Year named by the Chronicle. He was All-State third team, I think, and then he went on to play at West Valley JC and then played Division I at Hartford, where he was All-Conference defensive first team. Played pro ball in Germany and just unbelievable player, unbelievable energy, a great shooter, and it's really cool to hear you talk about your focus on developing him. In addition to, you had great teams those years, right? You're winning league, you're going deep into the playoffs, but you took the time to develop this kid into, really one of the best players in Marin history. So
he put the work in. He would call Phil and say, "Can you come work me out at lunch?" And Phil would come down and put him through a 35-minute workout at lunch. And it might even be a game day.
Right.
But that's kids don't understand that if you want to achieve your goals, you got to put the work in. And Michael Turner put the work in.
There's an old coaching cliche that players are made in the off season, teams are made during the season,
sure.
Right? But it's interesting to hear you talk about how in the off season, because I fall victim to this even now. I just coached over the summer. We had open gyms, and I'm still thinking about, okay, what sets are we going to run? What's our framework going to be? But really, the focus should be on skill development during this time, right?
I'm not saying we didn't do any team concepts, but 80% of what we did from that 6:30 to 8 o'clock block was fundamental work, skill work.
Yeah.
That's
great. So another coaching cliche I want to ask you about. I'm gonna butcher it, but basically treat the kids fairly, but not necessarily equally, right?
Yeah.
My old coach always told me that I can't treat everybody the same, because if I have one player who's a a Division I level player, and I have a player who's a freshman, that's the 15th player on the team. It's just, I'm not going to treat those kids the same, but I'm going to be fair to each of them, right? Yes. So talk about that.
So we're back to Mike LeDuc. Mike LeDuc taught me that 90% of the game is getting kids, it's the psychological part, getting kids to buy into their role.
Right.
And whatever that role may be, that you got to convince them they're the best at it. And so for me, I just had this talk with Brock over the weekend.
Your son.
Yeah,
yep.
He has a kid on his 7th grade Under Armour team that I could see in the game is getting frustrated. I'm like, you got to remember, you treat them all fairly, but you push his buttons a little differently than you push Ollie Rowan's.
Right.
Ollie Rowan, you can really jump on, but this young man, he doesn't respond to that as well.
Yeah.
So you got to find the buttons to push. So I had plenty of players in my career where if I yelled at Dave Levine, he might be done for a month.
Right.
But if I yelled at Duffy Ballard, he was like, screw Coach Winter, I'm going to go prove him wrong right now.
I know that's a hypothetical, but that was very accurate, Rick.
And so I think that as a coach, the hardest thing to do is, it's like I have this kid, this is my favorite, Tony Petrozola. Every coach in the league hated him. Mm-hmm. Every coach wanted him on his team. He would die for every loose ball, just a bulldog on defense. We had a rule for him. If he couldn't see color underneath his feet, meaning the key, he wasn't allowed to shoot. Okay, that was the rule.
Yeah.
And he bought into that role because he knew that there were better shooters on our team. His job was to play defense, get those garbage rebounds, dive on the loose ball,
sure.
Set screens for the shooters. Well, we were successful because he bought into that role. And it's hard to get players, especially today, because of the influence of the three-point shot and all those things, to buy into those roles.
Yeah.
But my best teams, kids bought into their role.
You haven't listened to the Chris Ballard episode yet, but we spent a lot of time talking about Kerr and the Warriors and Kerr's ability to convince these guys, these multi-million-dollar athlete pros, to buy in to the role. Like we talked about Iguodala, right? When Kerr first joined the team, and Iggy was an all-star for Philly and 20-point a game, and then he had to go tell him, hey, Iggy, you're coming off the bench. He's doing it right now with Chris Paul's coming off the bench. By the way, since our prediction stuff, the Warriors have had some success. But the second team is doing great because guys are buying into their role. Chris Paul's a Hall of Famer. And Kerr, and it's credit to Chris Paul too, but knowing your role, right? What does the team need?
I sent a text message to our group with 4 minutes left in the Houston game because if you looked at the plus minus on Yahoo, the starting five was all minus 12 or worse, and the second team was all plus 10 or better. I'm like, maybe we should be playing the second team the last 4 minutes, which wouldn't surprise me if Kerr did something like that.
Of course.
But, yeah, they're buying it. I mean, I also think that getting players to think they're better than they are and buying into that role helps them buy into that philosophy. And sometimes it's also not me. My 98 team, we were one game from elimination from the 3 games left in the league. Any game we lost, we were eliminated from MCAL play, NCS play, NorCal play. Wow. Derek Ratto, our 6'5", 330-pound center, we had lost 3 games in a row by 1 point, all on the last possession. And we had Drake, Redwood, Centerfeld left. All 3 were the other 3 MCAL playoff teams, had to win all 3 games. And after the third straight loss at the buzzer at Novato on a bank shot from the free throw line.
Oh, dear.
After the game, he stood up and he said, all of you right now are going to listen to that man or the season's over. And from that point, sometimes it's not the coach, right? Sometimes it's the team that has to have somebody step up and say, if you listen, this is what's going to happen. And then we go on a 10-game winning streak, beat Drake 3 times in a 2-week span. Pete Hayward sent me a note, which I'd hardly ever talked to the man.
Yeah.
Just saying how great he's like. No Drake team has ever lost 3 games in a 2-week span. We beat him in that. I guess it was a middle game of that week, and then we beat him in the MCAL championship, and beat him in the NCS championship. Yeah. So
awesome.
Sometimes it's the players, right?
Yeah.
They just get the rest of the team to buy in.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, I want to shift gears for a little bit and talk about AAU and club basketball because you've got a lot of experience there. So talk about the pros and the cons of AAU basketball in general. What do you see as the good
first
and the
thing
bad?
So we don't do anything AAU related. I'm not a big fan of AAU. I'm a fan of basketball academies and club programs.
Okay. Can you, Rick, just for our listeners, can you explain the difference between, like, what is AAU versus?
Yeah, so AAU to me means that you have an overarching organization that says you have to play in certain events, or you have to have your tournaments certified by certain guys, and there's conflict of interest. And
Yeah.
I'm just not, that's not the, I learned that early on that I didn't want to get involved in those kinds of things. So we are a basketball academy. We are an academy for our parents, for our coaches, for our kids.
Yep.
It's everybody being educated. I think one of the best things that happened from early on through today is when I got my master's at Laverne, one of my teachers, Dr. Burns, used to say, the best teachers are the best thieves. Well, I think the best coaches are the best thieves.
Absolutely.
I mean, just watching coaches work together and stealing ideas and drills and communicating and all those kinds of things has been a huge aspect of NBBA. And then I think on the player side, like I know my boys played at St. Anthony's, and a lot of teams didn't like St. Anthony's, or St. Anthony's didn't like St. Anselm's. I think one of the things I love to watch now when I go to a CYO game is that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids on the court all know each other. They've been playing together with NBBA. Totally. And so all that animosity is gone, and there's so much, I don't want to say love, but there's love and friendship out there.
Absolutely.
And I love that aspect of it.
No, it's great. So when I was growing up, there wasn't as much, NBBA didn't exist, 24-8 didn't exist, there wasn't really club basketball. I played it over in the East Bay, but for me, that was Pirate Camp. That was how I got that, right? So,
and I heard Tom and John, and awesome. I mean, and that's the other thing too. When I came to Marin, I was the outsider. I had to learn Marin history and learn the Marin culture and really try to become a part of it. I tried very hard to do that. I didn't want to be the outsider. I wanted to I became very good friends with Doug Dinellen quickly. Great. And Father Tarantino he actually called me in the office one day. He's like, "Is it true you and Doug go to dinner?" I'm like, "Yeah, Doug's great." I'm like, he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Hey, just because I'm friends with Doug Dinellen doesn't mean that I don't want to kick his rear end every time we play."
Of course.
And a great rivalry based on respect,
and listeners, Doug Dinellen was, after Pete Hayward stepped away coaching Drake High, Doug Dinellen took over and won a lot of games. I don't know how many he won, hundreds of games, was there for many, many years, unbelievable coach. And MC and Drake, big rivals, so Rick and Doug beating each other up on the court and then go out and have dinner and have a beer.
And it wasn't just Doug. When Chili's used to be right here, right down the street, I mean, you'd see Farbstein, you'd see Campagno. All the guys would go by, and and I think that's why NBBA works too. It doesn't work in every area. Yeah. The reason it works is because the coaches, I met with all 10 coaches when I first started it and made it clear that NBBA was being designed to help them build their programs and to improve Marin basketball. And that I wanted all of their coaches to be a part of it. And what do you want us to run on? Like, our philosophy on offense and defense is built on what those coaches at that meeting said they wanted the kids to know coming into high school. That's how I set it up. So we run the 5-out read and react.
Absolutely.
Because they asked us. We need the kids to know how to read a defense, when to cut, when to refuse to screen.
Yep.
How to make sure that we play man-to-man. Make sure that they know all the principles so that if we do happen to play zone, once in a while they understand the man-to-man principles to plug them into it. So NBBA was NBBA was really created because of Michael Turner. I got so frustrated I could not get my guys to the D1 level immediately. They all had to go JC first. All of them had to go JC except Ian Salter. And if they played for me in Southern California, that would not have been the case. They would have gone D1 right away. Right. And so part of starting NBBA was to get our kids seen and recruited, in addition to the fundamentals and the other things that we teach.
And I'm glad that you've corrected an error of mine where I've been talking a lot about AAU, just sort of as a general term, but really what we're talking about is kind of club basketball, right? Kind of off-season, play basketball in these tournaments. And we talked a lot about this with KK. This is a really important way for kids to get exposure to colleges, right? Because during the season, obviously college coaches are coaching their teams, right? You have recruiting coordinators and assistant coaches are out on the road, but it's harder for them to scout a high school team than it is for them to go to a tournament in June and they see 100 amazing kids in the gym.
100%.
So NBBA has been a very big player in that space for the last 15 years. And there are a bunch of programs like this, but it's been a great benefit. And you were just telling me before we started recording, so how many kids do you have going to college now from NBBA?
Brock knows the numbers inside out. He's our high school director, but 30 plus from the girls and boys combined.
Yeah.
From the JC level all the way up to D1, we've got 30 plus kids that are just started practice 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome. So very, very cool. Great accomplishment. And we're going to have Brock and Turner on this podcast, and we'll go deep on this. Okay, I want to shift gears again, Rick. I want to go back to the early days of growing up in SoCal for you, because it's been a very Marin-focused podcast, and that's great. But you're someone you're interesting. You're a hybrid, right? You've left an indelible mark on Marin basketball in your 20 years that you've been here, but you're a SoCal guy growing up. So growing up in Anaheim, what was that like? Were you playing pickup? Were you a big Laker fan? Like, what was it like?
So I was a huge Laker fan. I mean, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, Elgin Baylor. I mean, that was... And then I was also a huge UCLA fan. I still remember Notre Dame breaking the streak on my little, the kids today wouldn't even know what I was talking about, but my little black and white TV that I had to sit 6 inches from my face to actually see the game.
Yeah.
And then...
was that Walton's team, by the way?
That was Walton's team.
Yeah.
That was Walton's team. Kelly Tripucka.
Yes, that's right.
Kelly Tripucka did him in. And so my parents, when I was, I guess I was in 5th or 6th grade, moved to a neighborhood, bought their first house and moved to a neighborhood in Anaheim. And Twiley Reed Elementary is where I went, and there was a park connected to it. And the park had 2 full courts and lights, chain nets, you know, all that. And it became a pretty, I'm listening to Tom and John talk about the Drake courts. Yeah. That was it, And then maybe 7th grade, my parents started not getting along so well. And so, literally, I would get home from school every day. And my escape was 3 o'clock. I was at those courts until probably 6 or 7. Yeah. My mom would yell out the back gate. Dinner. Yep. Or I had to be home if the lights were off. The street lights went on. You got to be home. Right. And so I just played and played and played. But the turning point came with Magic and Bird. The 79 NCAA championship game changed everything. Because here I'm this 14-year-old kid, and I listened to Fulton talk about Swen Nader the other day, and all this. Cypress College is a couple miles away from where I grew up, and that's where Swen played before he went to UCLA. So the Cypress College guys would come there. There were big time games going on there. It was a hotbed, and I only get to play if they needed a 10th guy. You know, but I started to earn some respect, and I'd hit a big shot here or there, or I'd make a good pass, and then pretty soon it was like, okay, hey, maybe this little guy can play. Right. And then Coach Track saw me playing there, and that's when I played on my first travel team. And then he was my coach when I went to Western High School. Great. But I got cut from my junior high team. That also had a huge influence. I started, going to the park and just putting myself through workouts. Yeah, working hard, get better. Yep. Yeah, awesome. So how did you end up at Laverne? So you go to high school, and then you now we're going to play college ball. I didn't go there to play ball. I had a huge interest in journalism, and I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I actually got accepted at a couple of really good. I got accepted at UCLA, got accepted at UConn, but Laverne had one of the best journalism programs on the West Coast. And I had a chance to play. So a guy named Gary Smith was a coach at Redlands. he actually recruited me a little bit. And then I went and watched him play. And remember, no three-point line when I played.
Right.
I'm old. So no three-point line when I played. If there was, I probably averaged 3 points more a game. But I went and watched Redlands play, and I mean, all he focused on was defense. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I could play here.
Yeah.
Like, that was not my game. And so I started Laverne's journalism school, and I got a small scholarship there, and they had a scholarship night in May. And that's where I met my best buddy, Joe Sales, 6'4", African-American guy that knows how to use his rear end better than anybody I've ever met. I mean, unbelievable post-up game for 6'4", and then could go inside, outside. And we struck up a relationship, and I was like, okay, maybe I can play hoops here. And so my freshman year, I played JVs. Gary Stewart, who was a transfer from Long Beach State, was the star. Andre Basu, who also came from Long Beach State, I had to guard him. I kept telling my coach, I'm like, why are you making me guard Andre? I'm not making him better, because I just watch him blur past me every time. He was first team All-SCIAC. Gary's now head coach at Stevenson University in North Carolina, has had a phenomenal career, was a coach at Laverne for a while.
Great.
So had a great experience there. Didn't play. My coach loved me because I don't want to say I was dirty, but I was tough.
Right.
I didn't care if you were 6'4", 6'5". I'd hold your jersey. I whatever it took.
You did what you had to do.
I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
And my coach used to say to them all the time, like, why can't you guys play more like this guy, I'm this little 5'11", scrawny guy. So I worked my butt off in between my freshman and sophomore year because I didn't want to play JV again.
Right.
And I actually made the varsity. And on our first game, it was an alumni game, and I come down on his size. We had a 7-footer. Come down on his. He was not very good. He wouldn't have been at Laverne if he was any good.
Right.
And I came down on the side of his foot, tore ligaments, and done. And my old high school assistant varsity coach, Conrad Byers, had gotten the varsity job at Anaheim High School. He had called me before the season started to see if I was interested in coaching. Couldn't do it because I was playing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got hurt, my first phone call. So I would commute from Laverne it's about a 30-minute ride from Laverne to Anaheim High School. And I coached freshman basketball at Anaheim High School for a couple of seasons, and then started coaching locally closer to the Laverne area.
So we spoke with Mike and Ashley Saya last week, which that episode will come out soon. It was a great interview. And Ashley had 4 ACL injuries in her career. Just brutal luck, but such a positive person, and kind of fought through, resilient, kept coming back and playing. But then finally when her playing days were over, went into coaching. Right now she's had a very successful career coaching at MC. But she was talking about when she was hurt at Bentley, where she went. She was still, the coaches had her participate in everything. She was sitting on the bench. She almost was like started her coaching career there, right? So blessing in disguise, right? Horrible luck with an injury. It's awful. It's devastating. But there's this silver lining, and it sounds like with you, terrible injury, huge bummer, but it starts this coaching career that's been pretty fulfilling for your life, right? So
it's been awesome. I mean, if that injury hadn't happened, who knows what direction we've gone? Because and then the other thing too is that, as I always mentioned when we were talking a little bit before we started recording, is that in Southern California at that time, to become a varsity coach, which was my goal, you had to be an on-campus teacher. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. You were on campus. And so I continued getting my degree in communications and journalism, but I minored in history so that I could then have the opportunity, if I became good enough, to coach at the varsity level.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in your perspective on coaching the MCal so you were 95 to 2010 at MC, right? So you graduated Laverne, you go to Damien, you coach at Damien for a couple years, you have success, you move up here, you take over at MC. The high school game is different today than it was when you were coaching, right? We've talked about it ad nauseum, 5 out, the system is different, threes everywhere. Talk about today's game versus when you were coaching, and which one do you like more?
Well, I think the players would tell you that they like today's game more.
Sure.
Like funny side story. So I always geared my offenses and my philosophies around what talent I had.
Yeah.
And so Michael Duke actually, along with John Macy, who was a coach at UC Riverside, created an offense called two guard. I brought it to Marin. It's very effective offense. It's basically a four-man flex, screener with tons of counters off it. Very difficult to guard.
Yeah.
And but like when I had the 6'10 kid, Ian Salter, I went and spent 2 days with Herb Sendek at Arizona State.
Oh, wow.
And learned his version of the Princeton offense. And so we ran the Princeton with Ian because he could shoot from the three. He could put the ball on the deck. He ended up playing at Toledo. So it didn't make sense to run a four-man flex with him at the high post and not be able to utilize him. So we changed. Well, this is hilarious. So senior year for Brock, I have Patrick Conroy. He's a freshman. David Ahern's a sophomore. This Trezzulo and Ruper's family. I love those kids. I mean, first year varsity guys. We ran the Loyola Marymount system. So
shoot
the
quickly.
The year that Hank Gathers passed.
Yeah.
I was on staff at Paul Westhead's camp.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to learn his system. And so Brock's senior year, we ran that system. We pressed every second. We would rotate 10 guys, 10 guys every game. And we're playing San Marin in the league opener, Stuart Wasonga's junior year. They're beating us by 15 the whole game. And we just keep... Westhead's philosophy was, if you're 99% committed to the system, it works 50% of the time. If you're 100% committed to the system, it works 100% of the time. We just kept pressing and shooting our threes. And we finally came back in the fourth. We were down 15 to start the fourth quarter. Win the game. Patrick Conroy, freshman. We ran a little refuse to screen play to him. Hits the three to win the game.
Wow.
Michael Turner's at the game. And first thing he says when he comes down, not congratulations, coach. What is going on? Why? How come I didn't play in this system?
Yeah.
You made us make 5 passes and get an open 15-footer or a layup, And so, as a player, I get it. Like, you want to play in this kind of system.
It's like, this is bullshit. I'm playing for Norman Dale instead of Paul Westhead.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
100%. So, and I was like, well, this is what the talent dictated. Like, we're young, we're inexperienced, but we got tons of bodies that can go, and we have no size. So we're gonna shoot a lot of threes, and we're gonna get after it and press. I mean, we were down to Menlo 22 to start the fourth quarter. John Ratchin, who coaches for NBBA now, was assistant at Menlo.
Novato girls coach.
Yep, we were down 22 to start the fourth quarter, and we beat them by 6. We were 0 for 22 from 3 going into the fourth quarter, and then hit 7 threes in the fourth quarter.
That Loyola Marymount system that Rick's talking about, listeners, was amazing in what years was that? The late 80s?
Late 80, like, what was that? What year was that? 85?
Yeah, with Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball. Because Westhead was a Lakers coach, won a title with the Lakers, and then got fired. Winning Time, the HBO show, goes through this, but he then joined Loyola Marymount and had this amazing system, run and gun. They would shoot within 7-8 seconds, Rick, of every possession.
Yeah, and it's the rules like, if the point guard passes the ball to the two guard that's filling the lane, the two guard doesn't think, he just shoots.
Yeah.
If he's not open, it's the point guard's fault. I mean, it's an incredible system, and they would actually press and let you score in an attempt to try to get you to run with them.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome.
And the conditioning. I remember Jeff Fryer was launching threes, right?
I'm actually friends with Jeff. I helped him build his academy in
nice.
SoCal.
He was my hero growing up. But yeah, they would the conditioning that they would do, running the dunes and Malibu, just preseason, just torture. But because his philosophy was, we're going to outwork you and we're going to outcondition you, and 100%. It worked. They won a lot of games.
They did.
That's really cool.
And he was amazing. I worked for him one summer, and like 8 years later, Wendy and I are on the beach in Laguna.
Yeah.
And he's walking by, and he's like, Coach Winter?
That's cool.
How's this guy? I worked for him for 1 week.
Yeah.
Amazing guy.
Yeah. Duffy has an item.
And I've got a microphone here, so hopefully you
can
hear me on the back end. Is there anyone locally running that currently that we know of, Loyola?
I don't think so.
Too much work.
It's not. It's not that big a leap from what is going on now, right?
It's not.
I was talking about this. So we had Michelle Bravelli in here.
Yeah.
And I I was watching a tournament game, one of your tournaments, a couple weeks ago, and Mike Bravelli and I were sitting in the Novato Old Gym, and we were watching his son play. And it was sort of a combo Marin Catholic Santa Fe team playing against Branson. And the Branson team's phenomenal, right? I mean, there's so much talent. And this MC Santa Fe team was doing great. But Mike and I were laughing because literally every possession is a three or a layup.
Yep.
And so it would be 3, come down, 3, come down, layup, come down, 3, miss. Just there was not a mid-range shot for 15 minutes.
Brock just sent us last week a little Instagram. We have our little admin team.
Yeah.
We call it. So me, Brock, Kyle, we're kind of the 4 guys, and we run the NBBA Marin side. So, and it's a very well-respected trainer who's talking to some of the top 100 players in the country, and he's like, "What's the best shot you can get in the game? A layup. What's the second best shot you can get in the game? A catch and shoot 3." Like, that's the philosophy now.
Yeah.
In the past, like when the three-pointer first came out, that wasn't the philosophy. The philosophy was you still need to attack the basket. You still need to get the 15-footer. And it just adjusted shooting field goal percentage. It started doing the math, and you're like, okay, well, if I shoot this many threes and make 40%, it's better than the 2.
Yep.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah. But Duffy, I mean, it's a good question. But honestly, the 5-out system is not that different because with LMU, Rick, you know better than I, but players run to their spots, right? You have different spots that are designated, and then there are different rules. It's a framework, right?
Correct.
It's not a set play. It's just a framework. But the idea was if they were holding the ball 10, 15 seconds into the shot clock, that's a bad possession. That's a bad possession for them.
Today, if you go watch Grinnell college play, they're averaging 100 points a game. Sometimes they score 150.
Yeah. So in the league when you were there, by the way, I love that. It's fascinating when you talk about how you changed your system based on your personnel. And we talked about that a lot with Fulton, right? He's great about that.
Right.
And we just, first day of practice was yesterday. We're talking about, okay, given our personnel, how are we going to change our system? That's what good coaches do. So in that league back in 95 to 2010 in the MCAL, you guys were always good. I know Branson had some great teams. Drake had some really good teams. Who else was tough in the league?
To me, that's the golden era of coaching. No disrespect to anybody else before or after, but Tavani, Honick, Donnellan.
Yeah.
You can go Farbstein at Terra Linda. You can just keep going down the list, and there's incredible coaches throughout the league.
Campagno.
And it's Campagno came to Redwood my last year, or second to last year. It was so defensive oriented. Everybody played tough man-to-man defense. We actually petitioned to have CYO outlaw zone defense because why are we teaching these kids to play zone when none of us, the whole league played man? And I used to tell one of my philosophies, and I can't remember which podcast you had it on or which coach said it or who said it, but I never have taken a player out of a game for shooting a bad shot.
That was Fulton.
Fulton. Yeah. Not once, ever. I would take you out for not shooting an open shot.
Yeah.
Because in the league at that time, if you passed up an open shot, you might not get another one.
Right.
And so I never punish players for taking a bad shot. But if you passed up the open one, man, I would be on you pretty hard because they were so hard to come by.
Absolutely. We one of the interviews we've done, we haven't released the episode yet, is with Jeff Skaggs, who's a great guy. He was an MC grad in the late 70s. And Jeff talked about that he also was involved in getting zones banned in CYO until 7th grade. And I bowed down to him because that's a really big issue for me. It's a pet peeve of mine when I see CYO teams run zone. Even if zones will win you a game as a CYO coach, this is my soapbox. As a CYO coach, your focus should not be on winning games. It should be on developing your players and teaching them the game. And I know this as a coach now and in high school. If I have kids who played CYO for somebody else and they played zone all through their CYO life, they have no idea how to guard anybody.
Yeah, I tell our NBBA parents all the time, if you're playing NBBA to win games, you're in the wrong program because especially in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade levels, if we sit in a zone, we could win a lot.
Sure.
But we're teaching the kids nothing. We're not preparing them for high school. We're not preparing them to play the game the right way.
Yeah.
And so even when we play in our tournaments, I try to avoid having programs that play zone play in our tournaments.
Yeah.
I want teams to play man. Like my little third grade team, I mean, we just lost a game to a team that they run a 2-3 extended trapping zone, you know, and that kind of thing. And they beat us by 25. And I told our parents, that's fine now. By 5th grade, we'll be slicing and dicing that, and we'll be beating that team by 15.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of us being strong enough to handle the ball better, being strong enough to shoot over it, make the correct passes, make the correct adjustments. We're not there yet in 3rd grade, but by 5th grade, we'll be there.
Yeah. Duffy.
So we just started the season. We're doing a lot of shell drill.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of, lane, ball, I got 2, bounce, drop, help side, all this, right? Listen to a podcast, not ours, different podcast recently.
How dare you?
And it was a coach in Idaho, and he asked the question, what is help side in man-to-man defense if it's not zone?
A good help side defense looks like zone. A lot of coaches, I mean, I've seen CYO coaches, like I would run Marin Catholic gym, and they would be like, that coach is playing his zone. I'm like, no, he's not. He's just taught his team how to play man defense properly. Right. And if you just send a cutter through, you'll see it's not a zone because the man will follow him.
Exactly.
A good man-to-man defense looks like a zone.
I was about to say, Duff, I mean, and I said this in the Skaggs interview too, this is not a judgment on, look, at the high school level and beyond, zones, there's a place for them, right? I mentioned this before. Jim Boeheim, long career.
But all man-to-man principles.
Man-to-man principles.
It's all man-to-man.
So that's the issue, right? It's when we're, as the foundation, if you're building a house, you need to have a good foundation. Your foundation has to be man-to-man principles, which is get in a stance, see the ball, ball you man, kind of proper fundamentals of help side, right? And you learn that by playing man-to-man defense. In a zone, if you don't have that base, you're not going to play a very good zone.
And like my 2004 team, I'm going to say that I played 99% man defense my entire coaching career. The 1% was in one season, and it was in 2004. We had a 6'9", 290-pound kid named Corey Lowe who went and played at Northern Colorado, had a great career. And we took Tarkanian's amoeba defense and amended it for him. So the 4 guys in the perimeter were all playing man-to-man principles, and then he had this little triangle that he had to guard, depending upon where the ball was, to take away the inside. And but we had to do it because given the mismatches that were created with him having to play man-to-man, teams could expose him. So again, it's back to doing it based on your personnel. And especially, like, we got into NCS, and, like, we beat Salesian at our place in the semis, big upset. Yeah. And that switching to zone is what won us the game. But it wasn't like the CYO coaches just putting 5 kids out there in a 2-3 zone and just standing there.
Guarding paint.
It's all based on man-to-man principles.
Absolutely. Duffy, yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of just being the devil's advocate here, of course, but I do wonder, it just strikes me when we're teaching man-to-man, even at the high school level, we spend most of our time on the zone principles to reacting to being beat and not so much the actual man-to-man defense. Yeah. And you see a lot of kids, including my son was this way all the way through CYO, pretty good on ball, but kind of would lose the help side. I just wonder, hypothetically, if we started everyone with zone and they learned the help side first and then introduced the man-to-man, would it be different? I'm not advocating for that. I'm just
Rick, I'm looking for a new podcast co-host. Duffy has been removed. Duffy, good, fair, a fair point. A fair point.
We can talk about this in intro and outro. I don't want to hijack this.
But I think that if you're teaching man-to-man to younger kids and you run a shell drill, right, which is 4-on-4, teaching help side, positioning, yes, it looks a little bit like a zone, but I think that is the answer that's the best way to teach defensive principles.
Yeah, I teach my 3rd grade team. We run shell drill every single day.
Yeah.
And And the way I teach it is that there's a rope tied around the ball and a rope tied around your waist. So there's one rope tied around the ball.
Yep.
The extension of the rope goes to your waist. Whichever direction the ball goes, it pulls you in that direction.
Exactly.
And they start to get it. They start to understand. I'm like, what did the rope pull you? Yeah, coach, it's pulling me here.
Yeah.
It's
that's a great visual. Yeah. So you had a unique experience at MC, and that we've talked about this a little bit, and that you coached your kid, right?
Yeah.
So you had Brock played for you. Kyle was too young, right? You didn't coach Kyle at MC, right?
Didn't want to coach Kyle.
Okay.
Because of the experience with Brock.
Yeah. Okay. So coaches coaching their kids, that's a tough one, right? It can be great.
Yeah.
I assume it can be a challenge. So talk about that, and how'd that work out for you?
So coaching Brock was a blast, but I also had set the guidelines early.
Yeah.
And I know you, I forget which podcast this was. I think you brought this up, the coach or dad kind of thing.
Yeah, the Fulton one.
Yeah. So really, I reached out to Coach Blackwood when I started coaching my boys in CYO. And I kind of struck a friendship with him when I was scouting. And so Tom, tell me how you coached your 4 boys. And that's what he told me. He's like, you got to create the boundary. And after games, you got to ask them, do you want me to talk to you as coach or as dad? And so that's how I approached it. And it's because what happened is that, and my philosophy is a little different. And I have this conversation with parents that are upset about placement in NBBA right now, is that I used to go to the athletic director at St. Anthony's when both Brock and Kyle were playing at St. Anthony's. They wanted to kill me every year. But I would tell Jim Benson, the AD, if they're going to be number 8, 9, 10 in the A team, I want them on a B team.
Yep.
I don't care who they play with. I don't want them on the A team where they're going to get
the minimum
8, whatever it is, 10 minutes.
Yeah, the minimum.
They need to be on the court.
Time.
They need to build their basketball IQ.
Yep.
And part of that is maybe playing with kids that aren't as talented and learning who to pass to in this situation, or who not to pass to in this situation, and how to make your teammates better, all those kinds of things to build basketball IQ.
Sure.
To prepare them to play in high school. So I had this. They were gonna. St. Anthony's didn't have a coach. They were gonna cut 10 kids. I'm coaching at MC at the time, and I'm like, forget it. I'll coach the team too. So I was coaching St. Anthony's while I was doing the MC stuff, and that was my first experience coaching Brock. And so that worked very well. Coach Blackwood's advice, and then as years went on, it worked well. Well, his senior year, it worked great. I mean, so the backstory is that his sophomore year, Dave Basso and I told him he should go play baseball. We told him we didn't think he'd ever be a good player in our program. That I shouldn't say good player. He would make our team, but we didn't think he would get on the court.
Yeah.
That night, he put 3 goals in his room above his bed. Number 1, prove Coach Winter wrong. That means the boundary had worked. He didn't say dad. He said Coach Winter.
Huh.
Number 2, improve my foot speed. Number 3, get in the gym every morning at 6:30. And he started working out with Phil Handy.
Great.
And all of a sudden, his junior year, he didn't play hardly at all. His senior year, he worked himself up to be our best player. Second team All-League, All-Bay Area. Pretty talented player. However, I was this really good basketball coach for 14 years, and all of a sudden I was dumb.
Right, because you're playing your kid.
I was playing my kid. My coaching staff is telling me I'm not playing him enough, and I'm getting letters for the first time and all those kinds of things. And then Brock asked me to read on May 1st, he decided to choose Ithaca College as where he was going to go to school. And he asked me if I wanted to read his college application essay. And it was entitled The Obstacles of Being on Campus with Dad for 4 years. I was the athletic director, his APU's history teacher, and the basketball coach. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, would I want to be on campus with my dad? Probably not. And Kyle's built a little differently than Brock. They're definitely at opposite extremes. And I was like, there's no way that I want to coach Kyle. Even though I had been coaching a CYO team and the boundary was set. I resigned the next day and started NBBA. And I think it's now carried forward into the business world. Like Brock and Kyle and I have the same, we can separate the business relationship, and like Brock will challenge me. I think we should do this, this, and this. And we could have it drives my wife nuts. We could have a full-blown disagreement / argument, and then 3 minutes later, we'll hang up. 3 minutes later, he'll call me and he'll start talking about the baby.
Your dad.
Yeah.
Your grandpa.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. It drives her a little crazy, but the boundaries have been set since 6th grade.
Yeah. Well, that's great. One of the things I wanted to have you mention was you're great about just the whole idea of this feedback thing, and I love. So I gave Tony Butler some love on that one, but really that was you that also said
That's
that.
That's all right. Doesn't matter where it comes from.
But no,
as long as the message gets out.
It's great advice. It's great advice. But Tony, love you too. The 24-hour rule that you guys have at NBBA, I think, is great. So this is for parents giving feedback to coaches after a game. Like, let's say there's a game and the team loses by 30, and maybe a kid didn't play as much, and a parent's frustrated and wants to talk to the coach. Your advice to everybody is wait 24 hours, right? Talk about your 24-hour rule.
So there's nothing we love more in this world than our kids. Every single person would do whatever they had to do for their kids.
Of course.
And 99% of the time, when you're in the heat of the moment, watching what's happening on the court, you have a tendency to react differently than if you have a chance to sleep on it and the next day be like, oh, wow, maybe there's a reason behind this, or maybe I should approach this differently. And you're going to kind of laugh at this, but one of the worst parents in my program was my wife. Getting Kyle ready to play at Marin Catholic, he played on teams that got beat by 30, 40 points routinely. Mm-hmm. And she would send me text messages at halftime. What am I doing in this gym in Vallejo? It's 102 degrees in here. We're down 54-12 at halftime. This is ridiculous. And I would respond back. Are you talking to me as my wife, or are you talking to me as an NBBA parent? And I'd get no response for a while. and then I finally got her to understand that if Kyle ever wanted to not just make the team, but get minutes at Marin Catholic, these were the kids that he had to play against now, because these were the kids he was going to play against if he ever did make a varsity team. Yeah. So she kind of got it. But that's a good example of, I get it. As a parent, it's so hard to watch your kid get beat by 30, 40 points. And so you want to send that text message. You want to send that email. And so I actually had a parent this year, first time I've ever gotten this response. He sent me an email. It was not a good email. They lost the game by however many points. And my philosophy is that if you break our rule, I don't reply. I will not respond. Yeah. And I say it in our parent meeting. Yeah. And so he responded back the next day and said, are you going to respond to this? And I finally responded back and said, 2 questions. 1, have you watched the parent meeting, the Zoom link? And 2, if you have, then you know you're violating the rule. Why are you sending this? He responded back with, no, I haven't watched the parent meeting. So he didn't know about the rule. And so I actually addressed his concerns, even though it was a violation. Yeah. And he didn't like my response. And he said, I'm actually offended that you think that parents are not capable of responding rationally in less than 24 hours. And my response back was, most parents are not, because this is the thing you love the most in the world.
Nobody's rational about their kid.
Nobody's rational about their kid. Yeah. I'm not rational about my kid. It's impossible to be that way. Yeah. So I think most parents follow it, and I can't even begin to tell you how many times a parent will violate it, and then the next morning it's the first email in my inbox. Right. Please ignore that. I'm sorry. I'm so upset about A, B, and C. Can we talk about this? And then I'll talk to them about it, because now they're in a more rational state. Yeah. And by the way, the number of complaints we get are, we had 72 teams this fall. We're talking maybe 5 or 6.
Right. It doesn't happen all the time. Yeah. No, that's great. No, I think it's a really good message. That's actually really good for even beyond basketball, right? It's good.
Don Ritchie.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Duffy.
some of the best emails I've ever written are ones that I wrote at night and then
Waited.
draft file,
Yeah.
reread in the morning. So those are great emails. I'm
Yes.
just not going to send
So
them
I'm gonna-
because they're not the right tone. Dave will not appreciate that criticism of his interview, so I'm just going to delete that.
So I'm going to write an email, a very pointed email about your zone comment, but I'm not going to send it until tomorrow, okay? I'm going to wait.
24 hours.
24 hours.
So the credit for that goes to former principal at Marin Catholic named Don Ritchie.
Yeah.
He taught there for 30 plus years, and when I was the AD, got the AD's job, he was the principal. And dealing with some of these parents that donated $1 million and this
Yeah.
and that and all that, or thought they were entitled to things, he taught me two things. He said, number one, wait 24 hours before you reply. Number two, remove all emotion from every response. Just give the facts. And so my first year as AD, he made me send my responses in the situation to him first.
Okay. So
And he would send it back, and it was like he was my teacher.
Right.
And he would say, is this emotion? And I'd
Yeah.
be like, okay, I got to remove that, And so that's how I developed that philosophy. Again,
yeah,
the best teachers are the best thieves. I mean,
totally.
I've stolen these things from all these really, really great administrators and coaches.
All right. Speaking of stealing stuff from good people, Rick, I want to talk about Coach Spoelstra.
Yeah.
So, listeners, if you don't know who Eric Spoelstra is, he's the head coach of the Miami Heat. He's, in my opinion, he's my favorite coach in the NBA. I love Kerr, I love Pop, but Spoelstra, I love watching the Heat play. He does so much with the talent that he has. They're all bought in. He runs great stuff. I love Spoelstra, and I know you've had some great experiences working closely with him. So talk about that.
Yeah. So it was the weirdest thing, strangest thing. 2013, I guess, summer of 2013, maybe it's 2012. Took a year for it to all transpire. We're in Vegas with our select teams
For a tournament.
ending the season in
Yep.
July.
Yep.
NBA Summer League's going on. One of our parents, the Keefe family, Brian Keefe, Miles was a phenomenal player playing at Vanderbilt right now.
Sure, a couple Finleys
and then
at
Finley was
at
on
Branson
our UA
now.
Rise 17s,
Yep.
and he's getting recruited right now, and he's a stud at Branson as a senior.
Yep.
So Brian and Eric went to high school together, good friends from high school.
Oh, cool.
And so Spo just popped by to watch Miles. Miles was on our fifth grade team at the time. Fifth grade. Chad Daggett was coaching the team, former Branson JV coach. And we had 18 teams there. I'm like, that's awesome, Spo's watching the game, but I'm like running around. And then all of a sudden I get a text message from Brian, hey, Spo wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay. It became a 90-minute interview. It was, so tell me why you're running this offense.
Yeah.
And explain why we run the 5 out. And you only play man. Yep, we only play man. And tell me why the Branson JV coach wants to coach this fifth grade team.
Yeah.
Because in Marin County, the coaches just love basketball. They don't care if they're making everybody else better. They just want to teach kids how to play the game the right way.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe this kid will end up at Branson someday. At the time, we didn't know that's where he was going to go, but
Right.
that's where he ended up.
Yeah.
And so, fast forward, that's where it ended. And then the Warriors were coming out to play the Warriors in October. I'm driving to Napa to check in with my Napa director and dropping on a practice, and I get a or a phone call from Brian. He's like, Spo's going to drop in at Venetia Valley tonight to check out skills.
Wow.
So I called Turner, and I'm like, FYI, I don't think Turner even got my call. I left a message.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll turn around, come back. So for the listeners, if you don't know Venetia Valley Gym, it is probably the worst gym in Marin County.
It's Dave Dineen's favorite gym.
It is.
It's not a good gym.
It's not even a full size. There's no 3-point light on
Yeah.
the sides. You have to take a broomstick to pull the wooden backboards out to pull the basket out.
Yeah.
And so it's not so we had 31 third, fourth, and fifth graders in this gym. And I walk in the gym, and it's Michael Turner and actually I think it was Chad running the
Yeah.
clinic. And I look up, and Spo is standing up. He's just jeans. I don't think nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Jeans and a T-shirt on with a backwards hat, and he's got his camera out on his iPhone, and he's filming the whole thing.
Wow.
And then I see Brian, and Brian's like, hey, can you come to dinner tonight? Spo wants to talk to you. And then he told me he had been looking for 10 years to find the right academy to build his academy in Miami. And so that's where the conversation started.
Oh, very cool.
And then fast forward to November, he asked me, he's like, I want to launch this in January. Who should run it? And I'm like, Brock. He's like, wait, isn't he in college? I'm like, yeah, he's graduating a semester early. AP classes, the AP classes. He graduated a semester early. And so he interviewed. So on Veterans Day weekend, we went to Miami. Kyle asked if he could come because he wanted to hear what the scoop was and what the story was. It was a 3-hour interview. We went to dinner, and he literally interviewed Brock for 3 hours. And Brock was amazing. And the only catch is that I had to, Miami's much different than here. I mean, it's the wild, wild west at the high school level.
Yeah.
Transfers everywhere.
Yeah.
International kids coming from Puerto Rico.
Sure.
I mean, it's crazy there. And a lot of parents paid in cash, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so Spo did not want Brock to be the face of the academy because he's a 21-year-old kid. Like, Brock was a 35-year-old man running the academy.
Yeah.
Okay. But he wanted somebody like me.
Right.
So I was there once a week. So for the duration of the academy.
Wow.
Sorry, I was there for 1 week a month.
Okay.
For the duration of the academy. So I would spend 3 weeks in Marin, and then I'd spend 1 week in Miami for the 2 years we were there.
So what do you think, you spent time with him, what do you think Spo's secret sauce is? Why is he such a good coach?
Because and I know this doesn't sound nuts, he has no ego, number one.
Yeah.
So there were a couple times where we had this, what we called it the manifesto lunch that went on for like 4 hours at a restaurant. And I don't know how he heard the guy behind us, but somehow there was a group of people talking behind us, and whatever they were talking about struck him, and he turned around and introduced himself. They knew who he was, but
sure.
But introduced himself, and he's like, "Can you repeat that?" And it was like 3 businessmen having a meeting, and the guy repeated whatever it was Spo wanted to hear, and Spo takes this notebook out of his briefcase and he writes it down, and he tells the guy, he goes, I don't know when I'm going to use this, but at some point this season, next season, this is going to be part of what we do.
Love it.
And I was just like, wow, this is, I mean, the guy at the same lunch, this is LeBron's last year. Ray Allen is aging, and he says, out of the blue, he says, what do you guys got to get Ray a wide open 3? And we're like, what? And he goes, I'm being serious. He's like, every team is playing him on his hip, making him put the ball on the deck, and we need to get him like a wide open look. And Brock and I laugh, and at the same time, we both said 2 up. And he's like, show it to me. And so we diagrammed 2 up.
So use like pepper shakers and a glass, or
he had notebook paper.
Okay, all right.
So we put it on paper.
Way. That's good.
And so we diagram it.
Yeah.
He says, okay, where's LeBron? And we're like, well, we think if you have LeBron set the second staggered, if they hedge out to Ray, you're going to get LeBron for the slip dunk.
They'll dive.
Like, beautiful.
Yeah.
That night they ran it out of a timeout.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Ray got a wide open 3. They still run it every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He felt like he feels like he can learn something from everybody. It's not like he thinks he's above everybody else.
That's really cool.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he was put into a situation coaching the Heat where when LeBron left the Cavs the first time, right, and LeBron and Wade and Bosh went to the Heat, Spoelstra was the coach, a young coach at that time.
Yep.
And that's a tough job, man. I mean, to manage those egos and those expectations.
He would tell you that's his main job.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, obviously he's got Rick Winter diagramming plays for him. I mean, he's got other things to worry about.
So, but he did such an amazing job of managing that team and does not get the credit, I think, that he deserves. I mean, I think now, in hindsight, people give him the credit, but at the time, he wasn't getting the credit that he deserved.
I mean, so he didn't think LeBron was going to leave. So when LeBron left, maybe 4 or 5 days after, he sends me a text message and he says, "Do you think the read and react can work at the NBA level?" And he wants to run it through Bosch at the high post. And so he started meeting with the guy who created the read and react. And I mean, that's the level he goes to. So I was telling you that, Lee Jenkins wrote the story on Spo, and I was there when he did the interview. And Spo had the 16 Eric Spoelstra Basketball Academy coaches at the Heat facility for a meeting. And Lee was there to write the story and observe and all that.
Yeah.
And he had video of the Heat running basically the read and react drills, the same drills that we taught all the coaches from NBBA. And it was just kind of surreal to watch the Heat in their workouts doing these things. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, so he started running read and react concepts with the Heat and met with the guy who created the offense. Like I said, that's just how he is.
Well, didn't he start as a video coordinator?
In the dungeon.
So, So we just talked to Chris Ballard about Mike Budenholzer, and that's how Budenholzer started, right? He started as video coordinator, unpaid video coordinator for the Warriors, or for the Spurs. And, living off of Subway sandwich coupons and getting paid, $10,000 a year.
Yep.
Then he goes on to be NBA Coach of the Year and win a title. And so these guys they love it.
Yeah.
We are accepting applications for unpaid video coordinator for the Run TNT podcast. So anyone out there listening?
Must love zones. All right, Coach Winter, we've reached crunch time.
All right. Is this the lightning round? That's not.
This is
lightning?
the non. Okay. We've changed it. We've rebranded. We were giving lightning a bad name.
Got it.
All right. Toughest player you've ever coached against?
Casey Jacobson. I mean,
you're pandering to my Stanford tendencies here, but that's a good answer.
We played him. So we traded with Glendora. So we went to the Glendora tournament his junior year.
Yeah.
And then he came to the Bauer his senior year.
I remember that.
We played them in the championship game both times. And I mean, just unstoppable. I wasn't the head coach when Tracy Murray played, so
UCLA legend.
Yeah, but I mean, head to head, just unstoppable.
So Casey played at Stanford early 2000s, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. He was a couple years after I was. I think at one time he was the all-time leading scorer in California history.
I think he's second.
Yeah.
No, I think he's third.
He's up there.
Tracy Murray's second, and the kid from Sacramento is now first. I forget his name.
Okay. Yeah. So Casey was just an unbelievable player. What was he? 6'5", Rick? 6'6"?
6'6".
Just a shooter.
Unbelievable shooter, but could also take you and post you up. Could put it on the deck.
Yeah.
And he probably shot 95% from the free throw line.
Yeah. Just awesome. Okay. Top 3 players you have ever coached.
Wow, that's tough. So I would say Michael Turner.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had a player that just saw everything as well as he did. I mean, he was like 3 plays ahead of everybody and such a great motivator, leader.
Yeah.
The kids wanted to win for him as much as they wanted to win for themselves. I mean, and he led by example. So I know this is a Tara thing that I've heard, and you can back this up since you were with her. I've heard that she supposedly can tell the first week of practice how far the team's going to go based on her best player. That if her best players are hardest workers, she feels like they got a shot to win a championship. And if she's not, then maybe Elite 8.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I think that, that 05 team was an overachieving team. People think that it was such a great team just because we had good talent. Like, we truly had no post guy. We had a really good point guard. We had a sophomore starting at the off guard.
Yeah.
And no post guy. And all of a sudden we're ranked 15th in the state, all divisions, and it's like, why? Because of that guy. He was amazing.
Yeah.
And then probably a kid named Victor Leslie. So I got the head job at Damien when I was 24 by default.
Mm-hmm.
The guy they offered it to turned it down, so I was kind of the only person left as the JV coach. So my first year was his first year. He was a freshman, and he played all 4 years for me. He played at Brown, and is now the assistant controller for Warner Brothers Pictures.
Nice.
Really phenomenal player. I mean, very similar player to Mike.
Yeah.
And then Nick Vita, I think, would be the
Great player.
Nick Vita.
Played Nick in the adult league. He's hit some big shots against us.
Nick Vita, Nick Vita is by far the toughest kid that I've ever been around. I mean,
Yeah.
just so Salesian, we used to play Salesian every MLK day, and Nick was in a hockey tournament because he had a bunch of hockey programs recruiting him, like to leave high school and go live and play professional hockey. He was that good.
Wow.
And so that MLK weekend, we let him go play in a. I mean, who am I to tell a kid that you can't go? If you have a shot to play pro hockey, maybe that's your destiny. So go play. And he flew in, and then Sunday night and played, or maybe he even flew in Monday morning and played MLK. We lost to Salesian by 25, and he was awful. He was putrid. He was unbelievably bad for Nick Vita. And we played him in the NCS final at Redwood. He went for 29 and 22.
Wow.
And we spanked him. We beat him by 21. And we just dominated from start to finish. That was one of the best performances that I've ever seen. And he was just, call him the human pogo stick. It seems like.
Yeah.
And then he played JC ball in West Virginia, and then played at Fordham, and had some. At Fordham, they, for the first time in like 31 years, they beat an ACC school, and Nick hit the shot in overtime to do it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
That's why he kills us in adult league. All right, Rick. Favorite gym in Marin?
Oh, I mean, come on, the MC gym. I mean,
all right, we'll let you have that one.
I mean, for a couple reasons. One, I just love, I love the dome. I mean, I just love and I just think that it's such a huge home court advantage. I mean, you have all that history and the banners and
I don't love shooting in that gym.
So,
Duffy has a comment.
Well, the offset scoreboard table, right? It gives the home right. The home coach has more room.
He does, and what's funny is that I was part of the gym renovation, and I was so disappointed and frustrated that they made us do that. We wanted the row in the middle, like it's supposed to be, but based on ADA and all that, it had to be offset like that. So frustrating. But yes, it definitely does give an advantage to the home.
And even CYO coaches know that, right? I mean, they will run to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been there. I've done that.
Get more pacing.
But it's
real
just
estate.
I think it's a tough place to play for an opponent.
It is. Well, Skaggs was telling us that it used to be the stands were up high. Only. It was called the pit.
Yep.
And you think that would be make it really tough, right? With the crowd looking down on you.
That was before me.
Yeah. That was back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite coaching saying, aphorism, one-liner? And you probably have. You could go into Spoelstra's notebook and grab one.
No, I mean, so I was really big on discipline and being on time. So it's not really mine. Dave Craig, who is still Mike Saya's assistant today. So Dave Craig was Jerry Pirro's assistant before me.
Yeah.
And then he was with me the whole time through MC. He had a 2-year break where he went and coached with Bobby Dolan for 2 years at Branson.
Yep.
And then he came back. And then he has been with Coach Saya for the duration. He's a tough Bronx guy.
Yeah.
His claim to fame is that he held Kareem to like 31 in the first half.
Nice.
He's a funny guy. And his two favorite things are, you got to have the fire in the belly.
Yep.
You got to have the fire in the belly. But the best one is, if you're 10 minutes early, you're 5 minutes late.
There you go.
And I was big on
being on time.
Being on time. I mean, you have to do things the right way.
So Dave Deneen, which was a great episode 5, fans. Dave Deneen was an awesome discussion. He's a great guy, and he talked about just the little things like be on time, be a good teammate, get good grades.
Yep.
Don't just follow the team rule. Like do the things that you can control. Just do those things, right?
So Khalil, just so you know, I back it up. So Khalil Bell to this day we had mass before every game, and he was 1 minute late to mass, so I benched him for the first half, and we were literally 1 minute late, and we were playing at Cardinal Newman that night. We ended up losing by 5, which ended up costing us home court in NCS.
Yeah.
And we ended up beating them in NCS at their place. But to this day, he'll tell you that it set the tone for him when he went to UCLA and played for the Bears. And he's like,
played pro football.
Yep. He's like, it just set the tone. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, 1 minute late to mass. Most coaches probably are like, I want to win the game more. I felt like it was better to send the message to everybody that everybody plays by the same rules.
Yep. Great. Least favorite coach to coach against in the MCAL, or just not that you dislike him or her, but toughest one to
Jonas.
Yeah.
Jonas and I had some great battles. And it's funny, like you say, well, he probably wasn't very happy during that run. So in the 2000s, we won the first 4 and he won the next 5.
Yeah.
And really what it came down to is that who had the tougher kids in that stretch. Like I had the Von Telrop, Vita, Turner, who just refused to lose.
And then
he had the McNally's the 5 years after that. I think we played each other like 6 times in the MCAL final during that time.
Yeah.
But always the toughest game to prepare for. And so when they came in the league, I was so disappointed. And I'm going to tell you why. My very first experience with Marin basketball was the Drake Summer League.
Yeah.
And first of all, when we played Drake in the Summer League, it so happens in the Chronicle rankings that year, I think they were 4 and we were 5 to start the year. But in the Summer League game, there were 1,000 people there. And I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like now, I really was like, okay, Marin basketball is different, you know?
Right.
And then I think our second or third game was against Jonas, and the guy's running 4 corners, like in a Summer League game. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
We called that 3, Rick. That was our 3 play.
And I'm like, so then when they came in the league, I was like, thank God there's a shot
clock.
But even with the shot clock, it was just so hard to prepare for his teams because, you know, like, so Bobby Donlin played for me and assisted for him. And Bobby would tell you, like, my teams never went into a game unprepared. I mean, I scouted everybody very thoroughly. And Jonas obviously prepared his team. I don't remember who said it. Maybe it was Fulton.
Yeah.
But my philosophy has always been practice has to be harder than the game as well.
Yeah.
Like, if we practice our butts off,
Yeah.
whatever happens in the game, we're ready for. And when you get 2 guys that are like that,
Right.
I mean,
It's gonna be a battle.
I think literally 95% of our games were decided by 1 possession.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of proud that the 34-1 state championship year that we're the one.
You're the one.
We're the one.
Good job, Rick.
All right, Rick, it's been really fun to talk to you. The time has flown by, but thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and thank you so much for all that you've done for Marin basketball.
I appreciate you guys having me on. What you're doing is awesome. Love it. Love listening to the podcast.
Thank you for the support. All right, thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Take care.
Well, good job, Dave. Great interview. Thank you, Rick, for your time. Great answers. And let's get to the quick take.
Yeah, quick takes. Thought it was awesome. A few things I liked. Parents, the whole topic of discussing parents, feedback after a game. Do you want me to give you the feedback as your dad or mom or as coach? I think that's just really good feedback for coaches. I really like the 24-hour rule. I think that's really good stuff. I wish I had heard that many years ago. That was fantastic. On the player development front, I mean, Phil Handy is fantastic. So if you haven't heard of him, or go check him out. I still do his drills as warm-ups when I'm shooting hoops or about to play. So that's really cool that he was in the MC gym all those years ago working with players. And then finally, I love the Eric Spoelstra stuff. Great anecdotes. Love his kind of down-to-earth, lack of ego. I'm not surprised by that. I've heard nothing but good things about Spoelstra, and so that was neat to hear from Rick about that. So thought it was great. What do you think, Duff?
Yes, Dave, I liked a number of the same aspects of that conversation that you noted. The 24-hour rule, the Phil Handy drills. I had Holden do one of those 10-minute dribbling drills that you found on YouTube for us and sent out, and that was great. I love the discussion of the shell drill, and obviously that's a huge component of our practices, and for many coaches, their practices, and little sort of alterations on the shell drill that can change the emphasis, adding some constraints, number of dribbles, or add an advantage to the offense, or have the offense exchange wings. So many different ways you can teach the principles of man-to-man defense that then turns into zone defense. And we don't need to rehash all that, Dave. But anyway, I thought it was a great conversation. And the last thing I'll note is the story about Mike Turner and his time at Marin Catholic, and sort of how he evolved his game from 15 feet to then 17, 19, and then the trail 3, and then becoming an all-around player. I think that's just a great story for us, for anyone coaching at the high school level, and also high schoolers who might want to play in college, and parents to think about what does that path look like for a particular player. And it need not be that exact progression, but something where you are taking a big step in your spot in the floor each season as you progress through high school, and kind of knowing where you want to be by the time you're going through the recruitment phase. So that was great stuff, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. And before we close, we probably need to do the hand behind the head and do a little player control.
Yeah, well, you were also, Rick wanted to make a quick revision to his,
yes.
a small revision to his, or addition to his top MCAL team.
That's my player control, Dave.
There you go.
Yeah, so we did do a little chopping up of the interview because Rick wanted to clarify his top all-time MCAL team. So I'm going to read off those names now.
Yes.
Dave. Michael Turner, we talked about him. Oliver McNally, we've talked about him. Bobby Donnellan, we've talked about him. Will Venable, we've talked about him. And Nick Vida, who came up in the interview.
Yep.
I don't think we had previously talked about him, but
No.
we see him in our over 35 league.
Amazing player.
Great player.
Yep.
Yeah.
And currently,
Skilled,
I believe Nick is a freshman, one of the freshman coaches at MC. Great guy, great player. So, yep. Thank you, Rick, for your revision.
Yes.
Let's go player control. I got a few quick ones, Duff. Thanks to my friend Tony Butler, San Marin girls varsity coach, who corrected us that teams are actually allowed 26 games plus 2 scrimmages. So before we had said it was 24 plus 2, it's actually 26 plus 2. Thank you, Coach Butler. And anecdotally, don't sleep on the San Marin girls this year. They're going to be good because Tony can coach defense.
And Coach Butler is a potential maybe future sponsor, or so we don't know.
Potential sponsor, potential guest, for
potential
sure.
guest, yeah.
Has coached in this league for a long time. Great guy. Second, we mentioned in the Russ and Owen episode that Scott Kerr was the San Marin player who gave Daryl Rory some challenges that Daryl said was a tough guy to play against, but I didn't mention that the person who gave us that information was our listener, Pete Olson. So thank you, Pete, for that heads up. We appreciate it. And last stuff, I wanted to clarify, qualify, walk back a little bit of my zone venom.
Mea culpa?
My intense dislike for zones. I don't dislike zones, people. I think zones are great. And if you are a CYO coach, particularly a 7th or 8th grade, who uses zones, that's great. And I've seen some that are very effective where they use man-to-man principles. The thing I don't like is when kids are first learning how to play basketball and they sit in a 2-3 zone and they don't really guard anybody. That's what I don't like. So when I was saying that sort of this, black and white, look, don't use zones for kids, that's not fair. I want every player to understand the importance of man-to-man principles. And if you play a zone, just make sure your kids are incorporating those principles. That's all I was trying to say, Duff.
I really like it when you're in the zone, Dave. I see you shooting around. We're doing man in the mirror, and you're in the zone hitting 10 in a row. Yeah, you have no problem with being in the zone.
Thank you so much for that. You're lying. Okay, what do you got? Anything else?
I am not as big of a fan of the zone as I may have come across in that interview.
You were playing devil's advocate. I liked
Yes.
it. It was good.
So that's my player control. But for now, I think we can sign off, Dave, right?
Awesome.
Anything else? Yeah.
No, this was a great episode. Thanks again to Rick. Thank you, Duff. Thank you to our sponsors, and we're excited for our next episode, episode 12, coming up in a week.
This has been the Run TMC podcast, a podcast about basketball in the Marin County. Please spread the news. We love our listeners, and we also will love any new listeners that might come around. So give us a try.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey,